So it's happening. New York City has invested $16 million to build a floating swimming pool in the East River.
Launching New York Swim.
Think about this plus pool. You know how long we fought for this?
And this could be the future for all of New York. But there's one key problem. They're going to be filling the pool with river water. So how exactly are they planning to filter out all the nasty stuff if they're committing to no chemicals? And what happens to the pool during winter or, say, in a hurricane?
Are crashing over here.
There's a reason this design took over 10 years to approve. The first problem with a floating swimming pool is sewage. You see, here in New York City, we have something called a combined sewer overflow system. And basically what that means is that when rain falls a lot, our sewer system can't handle the load. So instead of our feces going to a processing plant like normal, they get dumped directly into the East River. Yep, and that's the same East River they're going to be using to fill this swimming pool. So how did engineers plan to solve this problem? I mean, the simplest solution would be to fill it with regular water, no? Okay, I see. That's too simple. So if we're intent on using the river water, then we have to figure out how to treat it properly. After all, New York City's rivers has been home to some extensive chemical dumping during the last century.
Non-stick products could lead to cancer.
Before the Clean Water Act, companies like General Electric and Pepsi used to pour their untreated chemicals into the river. Even as recent as 2020, industrial facilities in upstate New York released over 3.7 million pounds of toxic chemicals into our rivers.
Help me! Help me!
The point is, our river waters are juiced up on all sorts of unnatural things. So if we're going to turn it into a source of water for a community pool, there are understandably a ton of health risks. So how did they convince the city to say yes?
Okay.
Well, first, scientists had to prove that the water quality in the river was actually improving, and it has been, slowly. You see, the East River isn't exactly a river. I know, we've all been lied to. It's more accurately classified as a tidal strait, which means there isn't a continuous flow of water. Water only circulates as the tides go up and down, making it much harder to clear out the toxins. But the good news is, scientists have proven that we have been making progress. But that alone wasn't enough for the city to say yes.
Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why?
They also had to prove that the filtration system in the pool was good enough to eliminate any toxins, waste, or bacteria that would be flowing through the river. And that took years. I mean, over a decade. To give you some context, the original campaign for the Plus Pool started as a Kickstarter back in May of 2011. That's a whole teenager ago. And one of the reasons that it took so long is that it turns out that this filtration system didn't exist before. The lead architect, this guy, also the guy who worked on Kanye and Kim's house, he designed the pool without knowing anything about filtration systems. In other words, they had to go get help from researchers at Columbia and engineers all across the city. They had to design it from the ground up. And that's why this pool looks nothing like the ordinary pool. It has a plus-shaped design, hence the name Plus Pool. The idea was that this section would be for kids, and this section would be for lounging. And over here you can play sports, and here is where you can swim laps. And of course you can shut the entire thing down for a swim meet. Or you could open it all up and have everyone meet in the middle. It's a pretty cool design, but the coolest part is how it filters out the dirty river water. In essence, the entire pool acts as a giant strainer. Water is fed directly from the river, flowing from the bottom up. Before entering the insides of the pool, it would flow through 3 individual filters to get rid of the particles. The finest filter gets down to about 2 microns. And for reference, most bacteria is about 5 microns big. So this system is supposedly able to filter out most bacteria. Whatever's left over then gets hit with an ultraviolet filter. This disrupts the DNA of any microorganisms and renders them impotent, thus making the water safe for swimming. As a whole, the pool can filter about 600,000 gallons of water per day, which is supposed to help improve the water quality of the East River. It's like inserting it with a tiny filter. But even with this unique design, there's still another hard problem that scientists are worried about.
Powerful winter storms that roll through
Thunderstorms on the way.
You see, in the past, the biggest problem with floating pools was not the pool itself. One of the major reasons floating pools were decommissioned is because they couldn't handle storms. During heavy winds and rain, toxic river water would overflow into the pool. If this happens, it means that the river water would bypass the filtration system altogether. So unfiltered water and animals could end up in the pool, making it extremely difficult to maintain. For engineers, they're still working on a complete solution to this problem. But there are a few proposed ideas. First, the pool itself would be loosely tethered to the riverbed. This would allow it to ride the waves, similar to a floating dock or a large boat. Additionally, they plan to add buffers on the sides. I haven't seen concrete plans yet, but it appears that they will extend the length of the platform and potentially add material to a buffer zone just outside the pool. These would serve to dampen any surges from the river and reduce the risk of overflows. So when exactly are they opening this pool to the public? Well, as of 2024, they're building a 2,000 square feet prototype for testing during the summer. And if all these tests are successful, they'll build out the full 9,000 square foot pool somewhere along the East River near Chinatown. It will be open to the public starting in 2025, which means New Yorkers will be able to swim in the East River for the first time in over 100 years. And more importantly, it means we'll have less stories like this one, because there'll be a safer place for kids to go swimming. Hey guys, this is Nick from The Curious New Yorker, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching.